The Ducks have a top 2 pick. Number 1.
First overall selection of the 2023 NHL Draft belongs to the Chicago Blackhawks.
Fuck! Fuck!
The Anaheim Ducks. Bedlam in Chicago. Chicagoland fans high-fiving on their feet, going nuts, as they should be. You can see the smile on the face of their general manager, Kyle Davidson, who certainly has to be enthusiastic about this great news for their franchise and, of course, their amazing fans.
Hello everybody and welcome to Doomsday Ducks Fan. So, as you just saw, the Ducks did not win the draft lottery. I wasn't as mad that the Ducks didn't win the draft lottery. Yeah, I really wanted Connor Bedard. I was more upset with who did win it. I just think it's funny how the Blackhawks quite literally cover up crime within their organization. Arizona holds a little combine before the draft. One of those deserves draft picks stolen from the team. Those draft picks no longer exist for you guys. Not given to somebody else, they just don't exist. And one of those teams got nothing. Can you tell which one is which? So, yeah, if you couldn't tell, Coyotes got their picks taken away. Blackhawks did. It's kind of ridiculous that they cover up sexual assault within their organization, and they get Connor Bedard for it. Literally 3 years ago this happened. 3 years ago it came out. Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous. Anyhow, so some things to address before we get to the draft. Ducks got a new head coach, Greg Cronin. He is the AHL coach was the AHL coach for the Colorado Eagles, which is the Colorado Avalanche's farm team. He only had one season where he was at 500 or below with them, and it was the shortened 21 season. He went 15-15-4 with them, still made it to the playoffs, and he lost in the second round. I mean, again, AHL, it's completely different than the NHL, but these are not terrible things. This coach is he's supposedly going to push Zegras like no other coach has ever pushed him before. That's what a lot of the insiders are saying. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Hopefully it's a good thing. Hopefully it's pushing him in the right direction to be a more consistent player, a more disciplined player. I don't want him to lose his talent and his bite, but discipline and consistency would be something I would love to see developed in Z. So some successes that we can talk about for the new coach of the Ducks, Greg Cronin. He coached Tyson Yost, who is now a Minnesota Wild, and he's doing pretty decent over there. He coached Shane Bowers, who now is, I believe he is an Ottawa Senator, and he's most likely going to make the team relatively quick here. Alex Newhook, who was on the Avalanche and is playing really well. He also coached Ryan Graves, who is on the Devils and is actually a free agent at the end of the season. So, with now knowing the new coach, let's look at the Ducks option for the number 2 overall pick. So, the almost consensus number 2, Adam Fantilli. He's being compared to people like Jack Eichel. He's being compared to... There are people that have said head-to-head, if Fantilli played against Bedard, Fantilli would probably outplay Bedard. Bedard will probably be a better overall player than Fantilli and probably produce more points than Fantilli, but head-to-head, they think that Fantilli's size, his physicality, would be something that Bedard would have to either learn how to play against or learn to avoid. So the only other player who really is challenging for the number 2 spot is Leo Carlsson. He's from Sweden. Really good two-way center. He could be a number one center pretty much anywhere. The top three players are all number one centers. Connor Bedard, we already know what he's going to be. He's going to be amazing. He's the next Connor McDavid. That's who this kid is. Adam Fantilli, he's supposed to be a number one center. He looks ready for the game. He looks ready for the game. He looked great in the Olympics. Looked great in college. Yeah. And then we have Leo Carlsson, who again has been said to look like he could be a number one center within 3 years of joining the league. All three of those players are ready to jump into the league right now. There is one more player I want to talk about, and that is Michkov. So there's been a lot of people speculating whether or not Michkov will even be in the top 5. Michkov has dropped significantly, even though he is arguably the second most talented player in this draft behind Connor Bedard. His goal scoring is unbelievable. There's actually some rumors surrounding Michkov. Rumors that attitude is what the scouts are saying, yada, yada, yada. He plays in the K, so you don't know if he's going to come over. With the war in Ukraine, it's all uncertain. Yes, all of that is true. However, we look at past decisions to not draft players or to draft players, and you look at every single person who passed on Kirill Kaprizov. He went in the 6th round, man. That's every single team. Every single team in the league was like, don't want to touch that with a 100-yard stick, until Minnesota finally did. He's the best player on their team now. A big rumor about Michkov is that he's going to the Capitals at 8. The Capitals have the 8th overall pick, and it sounds like he wants to go there. However, if he falls outside of the top 10, or even drops to number 10, I think the Ducks should be incredibly aggressive and trade a ton of their, like almost all of their second rounders and maybe even their third, to try and move up to the number 10 spot. So, looking at this, the Ducks have pick number 2, pick number 33, 59 and 60, then they have 65, 85, and 97, all inside of the top 100. If you put together a package of pick number 33, pick number 59, and I don't know, maybe you toss in a defensive prospect, or you toss in, it could be something as simple as tossing in maybe even pick 60. You go 33, 59, and 60. That's 3 second rounders right there. For number 10 overall, maybe. But if he falls out of the top 10, the Ducks gotta find a way to get him. To get either Adam Fantilli or Leo Carlsson at 2, and then turn around at number 10 and get Michkov, that would be just... It would be the best draft in Ducks history since 2003, where they got both Perry and Getzlaf. This could be their next 2003 draft. Only took 20 years. Even if he doesn't get out of the top 10, the draft is deep. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the Ducks even trade one of these seconds for a player that they could use, or even for like a RFA player that is not going to sign with his team. The Ducks are incredibly flexible for this draft. It's a deep draft, so they can keep their picks and make their picks, and there's a decent chance they're going to turn into NHLers. Or they could move up if Michkov becomes available. Alright, so going from the draft, the next big step is free agency. So I'd like to go over a few players I would like the Ducks to try and target. So, first and foremost, I think it might be a good idea to go after someone like Max Pacioretty. That's veteran leadership, goal scoring, and if he can get over his injury problems, like he would have a bone to grind against the Vegas Golden Knights. They traded him away for basically nothing, and then he proceeded to get injured in Carolina after playing 1 or 2 games, and he just didn't play last year. So Pacioretty, I think, is a decent player to look at. Tyler Bertuzzi is going to be a UFA. That's a player that the Ducks could use, really physical player. Grindy down, can score goals, makes decent passes. He actually sounds like a player that Greg Cronin would really like. Another player, Thomas Tatar. I'm looking at goal scorers right now. The Ducks need goal scoring. They do. They do. Zegras looked good. Terry looked good. McTavish looked okay. They don't have a goal scorer. They need goal scorers. Tatar is known for scoring goals. Another player that you could potentially be looking at, Michael Bunting. He just had a really good year in Toronto. He kind of screwed himself in the playoffs. That might eat into how much he's going to make. But here's the thing. I don't think that he would sign with a team like the Ducks. I just don't. I think Bunting wants to win. If he decides to stay in Toronto, that wouldn't surprise me. If he decides to go to a different contender, wouldn't surprise me. So, let's talk about two more forwards, and then we'll talk about two defensemen I think the Ducks should go after. First and foremost, let's bring him back. Let's bring Corey motherfucking Perry back. You bring him back for a season. You let him... he's getting so close to retiring, guys. He's getting so close. Bring him back. Have his golden year. Have his victory lap in Anaheim, where it all started. I think the Ducks would do something like that. He's good veteran presence. Everybody loves him when he's on their team. That's Corey Perry. You love him when you have him, hate him when you don't. And frankly, I'd love to have him again. The last forward I want to talk about is Milan Lucic. And you're probably going, why would you even bring that up? Why on earth would you want to sign Milan Lucic? Yeah, I get it. There's physicality there, but like, why would you bring him in? He can't skate. This isn't me suggesting that Lucic would come to Anaheim. There are reports that Verbeek and Cronin have talked, and they're looking for a player similar to Lucic. I'm hoping instead of Lucic, they go with someone like Tyler Bertuzzi. He's younger, can skate, and plays very similar to how Lucic played when Lucic was in his prime. Frankly, a player like that is a good player. But Milan Lucic to the Ducks doesn't make sense. Yes, veteran presence. Yes, people would like him. But you can get the same exact thing from Corey Perry, and you're giving the fans fan service with Corey Perry. And then there's two defensemen I'd like the Ducks to go after. Get one of these guys. Matt Dumba, Justin Hall. Both of their underlying numbers are not amazing. Hall is a little bit better than Dumba with his underlying numbers. He plays defense a little bit better. Dumba's a big body, and he can hit people really hard. Good playmaker as well from the point. It would be good to insulate Jamie Drysdale with someone who's older who can take off some of the defensive pressure from him. And one little just snippet I want to throw in there. If the Ducks are looking for a left-handed D at the free agency frenzy, I wouldn't be surprised if they go after Ryan Graves. Greg Cronin has a history with him when he coached him in Colorado. He knows what he is. He knows he's a good defenseman. Graves is definitely a decent defenseman at the very least. I don't know if the Devils are going to be able to afford him. If they don't, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ducks kind of sweep in and take him. Like, he knows Cronin. Cronin knows him. I could see it being a decent fit. All right, that is it for this one. Thank you all so much for showing up and watching. I appreciate everybody who watches these videos. Let's hope the Ducks don't mess things up at the draft and take someone off the board at number 2. I have faith in Verbeek. I will see you after the draft for a draft recap. All right? Bye-bye.